All right, so beginning as you wish. You can begin seated if you like. You can take child's pose if you like. With neck and back and shoulder pain you might have, you can begin on your back if you like as well. I usually begin seated though, but that's up to you. And when I'm seated, I usually sit on a block too, or a pillow or something to kind of lift the sit bones up. But you begin as you wish, and then just take a moment wherever you are, get settled, make any adjustments that allow the body to relax a bit more. Maybe close your eyes here and begin to just check in with your physical body. Notice how you feel today. Right? Likely you're holding contraction in the shoulders and the neck and the jaw space, so just kind of soften into these spaces. Right? Like maybe there's some injury you might be working with, so we just kind of bring awareness into it and kind of approach our practice with some compassion for this area of our body. Right? Or maybe you feel excellent today. Just take a moment to just feel excellent. Right, but then we begin to come into breath, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. And this is time to cultivate our breath. A lot of the time we're not breathing. Right? We're holding our breath in or out, and our bodies aren't getting enough oxygen. So as we inhale, when we breathe in through the nose, we're bringing in oxygen, prana, life force energy into our bodies. As we exhale, we breathe out through the nose, at least as long as the inhale, maybe just a bit longer. And then breathing in again through the nose, where we fill up, maybe breathing a bit deeper than what you might unconsciously do. Again, exhaling nice and slowly through the nose, making the exhale at least as long as the inhale, maybe a bit longer. And just maybe another breath or two here. And then when you're ready, we'll begin to move into a table. So coming onto hands and knees. We'll begin with our cat-cow breaths just to bring some movement, gentle movement into the body. So we want to spread out through the fingers, ground through the hands. As you breathe in, we lower the belly, lift the head and tailbone up. As you exhale, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, really lift through the back. And a couple more rounds. You can make these as large or as small as you like. And focusing with, we had a lower back, aches. You can really focus with the exhale, pulling the belly button up towards your spine, hollowing out through the belly, helping to stretch lower back. And as you inhale, you might keep your inhales gentle, right? Maybe not arching as much, right? And then exhale, really hollowing out, stretching lower back, neck, shoulders. And maybe one more round of this. And then we'll settle into a child's pose. And so usually big toes touch, but you can take your knees closer or farther, whatever feels best. And try to relax again into your arms, your neck, your shoulders, your jaw, right? And just come back into the body and notice what you feel as you consciously move the breath. This is so much of a mental practice of focusing our attention simply here, right? Because the brain is used to bouncing around from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. So just coming back into body and consciously moving the breath is a really big mental practice, but is also really, really healthy for our brains and thus our bodies. So one more breath where you are. Good. And then a little bit of a side body stretch. You can walk the hands over towards the right side of the mat. And it doesn't have to be too much, but as we do this, we lengthen through the left side of the body. And then when you add the breath in, you might feel a little extra stretch into the shoulder or the ribs or maybe the hip or the back. And as you exhale, again, the exhales are long, slow, and there's a relaxing kind of softening as you breathe out here. Good. And then whenever you're ready to inhale again, you can walk your hands back through center and then over to the left as you exhale. You can settle in, maybe relax the arms or the shoulders or the neck or the jaw, or maybe the toes or the legs or the back can relax more. And then just consciously move the breath in, feel what happens on that right side. And move the breath out nice and slowly. And when you're ready to breathe in again, you can come back into the center. And we'll just settle into the center for another round or two of breath. And sometimes I like to kind of shift my weight side to side, massaging the forehead and also kind of stretching the shoulders and the hips, but not necessary. And from here, we'll come back up into our tables. And then we're going to do our downward dog with the exhale. So tuck the toes, lift the knees. We begin to open up into the backs of the legs. as well as through the shoulders and the neck space, right? So sometimes our awareness goes to the legs and we forget what's going on in the upper body. So make sure the neck is relaxed, the jaw is relaxed. We're pressing the heart back towards the legs here. And we'll do one more breath. And then we'll walk our feet to the top of the mat, coming into a standing forward fold. So we want the feet to be about hip distance and the toes facing forward. As you inhale, we'll lift up halfway. You might slide the hands up the legs a bit. And then as you exhale, we'll fold. Again, you can kind of slide the hands down. Again, inhale, lift up halfway, nice flat back. And then exhale as you fold. We'll do that one more time. So as we inhale, we're kind of lengthening the spine here, pulling the crown of the head away from the tailbone. And then as you exhale, we fold, and then we'll stay here for a few breaths, and we want the crown of the head to pull down towards the ground. So again, it's that releasing of the back of the neck, relaxing into the shoulders, the jaw. You can take a ragdoll if you like, maybe cross your hands into your elbows. If it's too much in your hamstrings, bend the knees some, and this will allow the stretch to move into the lower back more, or maybe even the upper back. So last breath in your fold, nice slow breath in, maybe a slower breath out. You can release your arms and we'll slowly roll up to stand. And we want to stretch all the way up the spine. So you can leave your arms hang, keep your chin tucked, and rounding all the way up, and then just pausing at the top. Right, take a moment there just to feel, right, knowing that this practice of being in the body is healthy for the brain and the body. And then we'll do a half salutation. So as you breathe in, we'll lift the arms overhead. Forward fold as you exhale. You might even bend your knees a little bit as you fold down. We'll lift up halfway as we inhale, so it's a flat, strong back here. And then we exhale, and we relax the neck and shoulders. And then it's a flat back to come all the way up to stand, reaching your arms overhead as you inhale, and then hands to your heart as you exhale. And we'll do that again. As you breathe in, reach your arms overhead. Forward fold as you exhale, all the way down. It's a halfway lift as you breathe in, flat back here. And then exhale as you fold, relax neck and shoulders. And then flat back to stand all the way up, inhaling arms overhead. And then hands to your heart as you exhale. Good, and then we pause here. Nice deep breath in. Long breath out. Good, and then inhale, lift your arms overhead. Let's bring the hands behind the back with the exhale. And you can interlace your fingers or maybe reach for your elbows. We want to get into the shoulders and the chest space a bit here. Right, so as you breathe in again, you might pull the palms towards each other, maybe even lift the chin. And then as you exhale, we'll fold forward. And so you can bend your knees. And again, the hands may lift up off the lower back to stretch your shoulders. And if this doesn't feel good in your shoulders, you can release your hands, bring them back down by the legs. Right, with one more breath in your forward fold. And then releasing your hands, bring them down by the feet. And again, we'll roll up to stand. So slowly, 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 stretching all the way up your back. Keeping the chin tucked so you also get into the shoulders and the neck as you come up. Good, and then just pausing at the top. Good. With your next breath in, lift your arms overhead. Forward fold as you exhale. We'll halfway lift with the in-breath. Hands to your mat as you exhale. We'll come into plank with the in-breath. So you step your feet back, and you can have your knees lifted or lowered, but we'll exhale and lower the chest all the way down to the ground. We'll come into a cobra as you inhale. So lift the head and shoulders up, and then press back to your child's pose as you exhale. And so hips come back towards the heels, and we can take the knees wider if we like. And again, we just rest here in our child's pose. 2 more breaths here. Try to breathe in and fill up through the back of your lungs. Also breathe in, fill up into your belly, and maybe your lower back. So really pulling in a lot of oxygen and prana in with the inhale. Right, and then exhale slower maybe than your inhale. Right, so if our inhales are longer, it'll make us anxious and kind of, agitated. So we never want our inhales to be longer than our exhales. But when you're ready, we'll come back up into our tables. We're going to do a few wrist stretches. So let's turn the hands around so that the fingertips face your knees. Good. And then from here, you can play around with kind of sinking the weight back or forward, shifting it side to side. You can also, fun kind of thing, is do the cat-cow breaths. It feels so much different. You inhale, you lower the belly, lift the head and tailbone, and then exhale, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone as you round. Right, that might not feel right, but Again, this is another kind of way to explore the body. Good, and get different mobility into the body. And when you're ready, you can turn your hands back around. Good, and then you want to come and turn the fingers towards each other. Right? And you can rock again side to side here. You can shift the weight forwards and backwards. And you might even try the cat-cow breaths here. Good, and then when you're ready, you can turn your fingers back around. And then just one side at a time. We'll do the right hand, turn the palm down. Right? And just kind of, again, you can shift back or forwards, just stretching into the forearms and the wrist. And then you can switch sides. So right palm down, take the back of the left hand to the mat. Again, you can shift backwards, off to the side. And again, just a little bit of wrist stretch and mobility here. And then we'll bring both hands down. And then we're going to come back into our downward dog. So make sure your hands are grounded. Tuck the toes, lift the knees. Right? And then we'll just take maybe 2 breaths here. So you can paddle your feet out, or you might find stillness. Good. And then with your next in-breath, we'll lift the right foot up towards the sky. And we'll step to the top of the mat with the exhale. We're going to come into a crescent lunge. So we'll lift the arms up. We'll stay on the toes of the back foot. And this is just to awaken some balance, but also begin to open up into the front of the hip. Right, if you want to add in more shoulder stretch, you can bring the hands behind the back again, interlacing fingers, opening up through the heart, through the chest space. Right, but again, not necessary. One more breath in your lunge. Good, and then you can release your hands if they were bound. We'll bring the hands down, and we'll get into some hip and some hamstring work here. So back knee will lower. We'll untuck the toes, and just a little bit of movement. So as you inhale, you'll just shift your weight backwards. And you may not stretch your leg out all the way, but we begin to stretch the hamstrings. And as you exhale, bend the knee again, come forward into your lunge. Yeah, and we'll stretch into the front of the left hip. So as you inhale, we just stretch back a bit, beginning to stretch into the hamstrings in the back. And then exhale, bend that right knee, shifting the weight forward, opening into the front of the left hip. One more time, inhale as you shift the weight back. And then exhale as you shift the weight forward. Good, and we'll come into our low lunge. Hands can stay grounded if you like. You may lift them up to the knee. This begins to open into the front of the hip more. You're welcome to take them overhead or again behind the lower back. So any arm variation. Focus here is hips. Right, the front of the left hip here. Right, one more breath in. Maybe slower breath out. Good, and then hands will come down again. We'll shift back, coming into our half splits here, opening into the back of the right leg, and as well as the back and the neck. So be sure you're not crunching in the shoulders and the neck and the jaw space, but allow the head to drop. Yeah, chin can tuck even just a little bit more. Like there's usually, there's a little extra level of like letting go. Yeah. One more breath. It's hard to breathe, but breathe in deep. Breathe out slow. Good, and then we'll shift the weight forward. And we'll come out of this. So you can do whatever you want. If you like to flow and you want a little extra arm work, you can do the flow. If you want to go straight back to your child's pose and rest, you can rest. If you want to add in a little movement, an extra stretch or so, you can add that in. Right, but we'll take maybe another breath or 2 to do whatever you like. And we'll add in this kind of, time to do as you like throughout the practice. Right, so when you're ready to move on, we'll meet back in our downward dogs. And we just take a moment there to check in, feel the neck, shoulders, jaw space, release it. As you inhale, lift the left foot up to the sky. And then we'll step to the top of the mat with the exhale. We'll come into our crescent. So stay on the toes of the back foot as you lift your arms. And this is a little balance awakening, again, opening into the front of the hip. If you would like more shoulder stretch, you can take the hands behind the back again, opening through chest, through heart space. And one more breath in whatever arm variation you prefer. Good, and then we'll bring the hands down to the ground, and then we'll lower the back knee and untuck the back toes. And you might adjust your stance, but just a little movement. You can make these really small. As you inhale, you shift backwards, and then exhale as you lunge forwards. Right, and then inhale again, shift backwards, stretching into the hamstrings on that left side, and then exhale as you lunge forward, opening into the front of the right hip. One more time, inhaling back, and then exhaling forward. And then this time we'll come into our lunge and stay here. And you're welcome to leave your hands grounded. You might take them up to the knee. You may lift them overhead or take them behind the back. We want to focus again, we're opening into the front of the hip, this right side. So whatever arm variation feels best for you. Try to breathe maybe 2 more breaths. Soften face, soften shoulders. Good, last breath. And then we'll bring the hands down, and then we'll shift the weight backwards so that we stretch the left leg out. This again gets into the hamstrings, but also into the back. So likely we're crunched, so we practice relaxing neck, jaw, shoulders, and then breathing in slowly through the nose, out a little more slowly through the nose. 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, you can lift your heart up, shift your weight forward, and again, we'll come out. You can take a few breaths to do anything you want, and you can take movement, find stillness, counter stretch, strengthen if you need it, rest, find stillness. Anything goes. This is time for your personal practice. And then another round or so of breath, and we'll meet back in our downward dogs. And then from here, we'll lift the right foot up to the sky with an inhale. This time bend the knee and stack the hips as you exhale. Just opening hips, 1 breath in, 1 breath out. And then square the hips, straighten the leg as you inhale. And we'll step to the top of the mat with the exhale again. And we'll come back up to our crescent. And again, just a moment here in a crescent, awakening balance. And then we'll take a breath in. We'll bring the left hand down to the ground with the exhale. Open the right hand up to the sky. So a nice twist here. Think about opening, the shoulder, maybe even taking the gaze up. Good. Last breath in. And then bring both hands down to the big toe side of your foot. And it's a little tricky, we're going to come into a wide leg forward fold. So walk your hands over to the left, and you'll turn your toes to face the wide side of the mat so that you end up in a wide leg forward fold. I'm turning so that I can still see what's going on. Right, but from here, hands can stay grounded. You can take your ragdoll arms if you like. You can take your hands to the body. Right, but we do, again, release the back of the neck. And this, again, helps to stretch the whole back line of the body. So often we think it's, hamstring tightness or lower back thing, but right, that releasing of the upper back can help alleviate a lot of the pains we have. Right, so 1 more breath in your fold. And then walk your hands over towards your right leg. And this will stretch in the right hamstrings more, but also through the left side of the back, so head drops a bit. 1 more breath there. And then we'll come back through center as you inhale, and then over to the left as you exhale. And you may or may not reach for the ankle or the foot, but again, try to relax the head down so you're stretching into the neck and that right side of the back. Good. Last breath in the full or on the left, and then you'll come back to center as you breathe in, and then just take an extra breath in the center here. Good. So we're going to come back to our lunge. So you walk your hands back to the right, and this time we're going to come into a lizard stretch. So keep your hands on the big toe side of your foot, and we'll lower the back knee down. And so, right foot still forward, left knee comes down. You can untuck the toes, left hip sinks. And then your choice if you want to work on lifting the heart up, that'll get into the front of the hip a lot more. Lots of times for our lizards, we lower down though. So you can bring elbows to a block or the ground. Again, not necessary. You can do either way. You might bring your right hand to your right knee if you like, flexing your foot and rolling your right knee out away from you. That'll get into the outside of the right hip a bit more. Right? But we're really getting into the front of the hip, left hip a lot is kind of where we want to be sure we're getting a stretch. Right? And then breathing, right? It's hard, but try to breathe in fully. Breathe out slowly, relaxing any contraction in the hands or the face or the toes. Last breath in your lizard lunge. And then you can come out of this in several breaths again to do whatever you would like. And you might close your eyes for this, take a little bit of organic or somatic movement. Again, you might find stillness. And you might come back to a flow. Just a few breaths for yourself. So another breath or so. And then we return to our downward dogs. We'll do basically the same thing, but on the opposite side. Well, kind of the same thing. We're going to add on a little bit. So downward dog first, ground it into your hands. Right? Relax neck, relax shoulders. And then lift your left foot to the sky as you inhale. Bend your knee, and then stack the hips as you exhale. Be sure you're not lifting your right heel towards the ground, but relax that right heel down. And then square your hips, straighten your leg as you inhale. And we'll step to the top of the mat with the exhale. We'll find our crescent again. So staying on the toes of the back foot, we lift our arms. And just a breath here. Good. And then we'll take the right hand down to the ground. Left hand up to the sky. So a twist, opening hips, twisting through the core. Right? Maybe a little bit of a heart opener as you take the hand back. Good. Last breath here. And then as you exhale, we'll bring both hands down to the big toe side of the foot. And then walk the hands to your right as you turn your toes to face the wide side of the mat. Again, coming into your wide leg forward fold here, we'll release the neck, relax the shoulders. And breathe. Good. And then a little bit of our skandasana, so our side lunges. You'll take a breath in, and as you exhale, bend your right knee only as much as you like. This will stretch into your left hamstrings, inner hip, and then come back through center as you inhale. And then bend your left knee, shift the weight to the left as you exhale. And then repeat that. Come back through center as you breathe in. You'll go to the right as you exhale. Your left toes may lift and kind of turn towards the ceiling. And we'll come back through center, breathing in, and then off to the other side as you breathe out. Good. One more time each side. Make sure you're not contracted in the jaw and the neck. Again, the head kind of drops. Your breath moves you to the center as you inhale, and then off to the side as you exhale. Then we'll come back to center, breathing in, and come back into your fold as you breathe out. So again, release neck, lengthening through the hamstrings, but also through the back. Okay, one more breath here. And then we'll walk our hands back to the left, and we'll come into a lizard lunge variation. So you'll turn your toes back to the top of the mat. Your back knee will come down. You'll keep your hands on the big toe side of the foot. Right? Back toes can untuck. Hips are sinking down, so that's what's most important. Right? You may or may not lift your heart up or lower your heart down, bringing elbows to prop or to the ground. You can keep left knee in, or you can flex your left foot and allow the left knee to kind of roll out away from you, right? So that gets into the outside of the left hip as well as the right. So couple more breaths wherever you are. Right? Soften the face and the jaw and the hands. Last breath here. And then again, you can come out of this and take several breaths to do whatever you would like. Again, it could be movement, it could be stillness, you can make up a stretch, right? It doesn't have to be a specific yoga pose. It can just be what your body, your mind, your heart need here. So another round or two of breath to do whatever you would like. And then we'll come back into downward dog when you are ready. From downward dog, we want to do a toe stretch. So we'll leave the toes tucked, we'll bring the knees down, and then we'll walk our hands back towards our knees, and you may come to sit back on your heels with no problem, right? Some of you might be more here or more here, but we want to come into a place where we can breathe, right? So this should be stretching into the feet, right? Likely, again, you're not breathing, so soften neck, shoulders, jaw, face. Just 2 more breaths. Breathe in. Yeah, you can add in shoulder stretches or neck stretches here if it isn't too much on your feet. A lot of people, though, this is a lot, so they're more so here. So last breath, whatever variation, and then you can come out and take a few breaths for yourself. Lots of times we like to kind of point the toes, tap the feet. Good. All right, we'll move on. We're going to come down to our stomach, so coming down to your belly. And then a few quad stretches. So we'll turn your left cheek to the mat, and then bend your right knee and reach the right hand back for the foot. And we work on pulling the glute in, or the foot in towards the glute. And this should open in the quads, but also into the hip flexors. So see if you're kind of, lifting the pelvis up. Try to, sink the pelvis down, keep the knees in line. And some of you at home may want a little bit more. You can come up onto your left forearm. You can build in a bit of a shoulder stretch by taking your hands to your toes, turning the fingertips around. But one more breath in whatever quad stretch variation you like. And then you can release that. And take a few moments just to feel, or you can be still, or you can move. We're going to stay on this right side, and we're going to do a half frog. So we'll take the right knee out towards the right side, hip height-ish. You want to open your foot out so that it's underneath the knee. I'm in bad alignment. Yeah, so likely the hip is lifted up, and we're working on melting the hip down, breathing down into that hip space to help kind of stretch and open it. Again, as you exhale, relaxing, softening into the mat. And maybe one more breath here. Good, and then you can come out and take a moment for yourself, and maybe stillness, maybe movement. And then we'll switch sides. So you can turn your right cheek to the mat, and bend your left knee, and reach your left hand back for the foot. And just pulling the heel in towards the glute, stretching into the front of the left leg, as well as maybe into the hip flexors, maybe if you want that forearm thing, you can come up onto your right forearm, and you just and then you would pull the foot in. If you want the shoulder stretch, you spin your fingertips to face the front of the mat, and then that stretches into the left chest, shoulder space. All right, one more breath here. And then you can release, take a few moments for yourself. And then we'll do the half frog on the left side. So your left knee will come out hip height-ish, opening the foot out to be underneath the knee, but relaxing. And if the hip's lifted, we're working on breathing down into this hip space with the inhale, and as you exhale, trying to melt, soften, relax into the mat. Another breath or two. Good, and then whenever you're ready, you can come out, take a few moments for yourself. And we'll bring our hands back underneath our elbows. And we'll just push up into a table. We're going to do a little modified cat-cow breaths where we inhale, lift head and tailbone, exhale, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, and take the hips back towards the heels, towards a child's pose. And then come back up into your table as you breathe in. And then exhale, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, round back towards your child's pose. This is really good for stretching out lower back. Right, breathing in. And then exhale, really tuck tailbone, tuck chin, hips back towards the heels. Good. Last one like that. Good, and then we'll return to our tables. And then a little bit of thoracic spine work. Right hand comes behind the back of the head as you inhale, reach the elbow up to the sky, and then exhale, elbow towards opposite wrist. Just two more like that. Breathe in as you open up. Exhale, twisting elbow to opposite wrist. One more time, inhale, open. Exhale, twist. This time we'll inhale the elbow up to the sky, and then reach that right hand up to the sky as you exhale. A breath in here, and then exhale, we'll thread the needle, taking your right shoulder down to the mat, so the arm threads off the mat. Right shoulder comes down the right side of the head. Left hand can adjust however you like. Right, but take two more breaths, in slowly, and out a little more slowly than your inhale. One more breath here. And then you'll take your left hand, press into the mat. We'll come out of this, and again, a few moments for yourself. Maybe come back to the cat-cow breath, so the wrist stretches, or maybe just stillness. Good, and then we'll meet back in our tables when you're ready to move on. We'll take the left hand behind the back of the head, and the inhale lifts the elbow up to the sky. Exhale, elbow to opposite wrist. Two more like that. This is really good for thoracic spine mobility. It works the fascia kind of cross-laterally here. So one more, we'll inhale, open the elbow up, exhale, elbow towards opposite wrist, and then inhale, elbow up to the sky, and reach the hand up to the sky as you exhale. Take one more breath in, and then as you exhale, we'll thread the arm down so that the shoulder comes down to the mat and the left side of the head come down. Right side, right hand can adjust if you like. And breathe in slowly, out more slowly. Last breath here. Release any contraction in the jaw or the face. And then we'll press back into the right hand to come out. And again, just a few moments to do whatever you would like for yourself. We'll be moving into a seated posture next. Coming to sit. And do a few cat-cow breaths here. So hands to your knees. As you breathe in, heart pulls forward, elbows back, chin lifts so that we're stretching into the throat and the heart space. And then exhale, tuck the chin, tilt the pelvis as you round back. Just two more. Breathe in, heart pulls forward, chin lifts. Exhale, tuck the chin, tuck your tailbone as you round back. One more time like that, breathing in, opening through the front of the body, and then exhaling and opening through the back of the body. And then a neutral spine with your in-breath and stillness as you exhale. Maybe your eyes are closed, just another breath or two here, just noticing what you feel within the body, knowing that this is really, really healthy for your brain and thus the body to just be here. Good, we'll be moving to our backs next. So we can come to lay on the back. You can have the knees bent to begin with and just have the feet grounded. And arms might rest to the sides for a moment, back supported. You might even turn your head side to side and just feel any contraction or tension in the neck or the jaw just kind of melt away here. Good, and we'll come back to center. And we'll do a supine pigeon pose. So take your right ankle and cross it over the left knee. And then let's lift the legs, and we'll reach the hands to the back of the left leg. And this is like our supine pigeon pose. It's good to stretch into the right hip and right side of the back. If you want a little bit more, and it might be too much, but it's a good hamstring stretch, is to extend the left leg, and you reach your hands over the right shin, and then you grab a hold of the calf or the ankle, and that gets a hamstring stretch. And so maybe another round or so of breath in any variation you like. And then you can release this side. Right? Take a moment between sides just to do what you like. You might take movement, find stillness, so you feel the sensations moving in the body. And then when you're ready, we switch sides, so taking the left ankle over the right knee. And then we'll lift the legs, reach the hands to either the right thigh, or you can reach it up and over the left leg for the calf or the ankle, and maybe even the foot. But your choice, take 2 or 3 breaths in your stretch, right? Slow breaths in. Maybe slower, longer, relaxing breaths out, right? So relax maybe the face or the shoulders might rest back. When you're finished with your breath, you can release your hands. Allow the feet to come back down to the ground. Again, a moment there just to kind of notice how you feel. Take any movement or counter stretch you might prefer or like. Good, and then we'll bring knees into chest, hands to the kneecaps. And then a little bit of more fascia work where we kind of circle knees or even rock side to side, but we're massaging and working some fascia that builds up around the lower back and the hips. And this movement really helps to alleviate a lot of stiffness and a lot of pains we have. So we can come back to center whenever you're ready. And then we'll get into a twist. So we'll take the left leg and stretch it out along the mat. And just rest that left heel out along the mat. We'll take your left hand to the outside of the right knee and your right arm to your right side, shoulder height. And then we'll take the knee over to the left. And then just maybe 2, maybe 3 breaths here. Your inhales are still nice and full. And then exhale, long, slow, relaxing breaths out. And last breath here. And when you're ready, you can come out of your twist. Again, a few moments for yourself. And some knee circles are nice here sometimes, just so again, some mobility in the hip, which also works within the back, all the way, everything. So, but your choice. When you're ready, we can switch sides. So it'll be the left knee in and the right leg out. And you'll take your right hand to the left knee, so opposite hand to knee. Your left arm extends out to the side, shoulder height, and you'll guide the knee over to the right. And the stretch is through the left side of the body. Likely you're contracted and not breathing, so relax, face, jaw, shoulders, feet, toes, and move the breath. This takes consciousness, but we breathe in, and we breathe out, slow and complete. After your next breath, you can come out of your twist, and again, a moment for yourself. You can keep your eyes closed maybe. You can take the movement if you like, or just stillness. And we'll come back to knees to chest when you're ready. And then again, a little bit more of that fascia work. Sometimes I like to work the knees independently. You can circle them one at a time, or even like figure eights. But you can close your eyes and just feel, and move in a way that kind of feels good. Good, and then we'll come back to center. And then we'll rest hands and feet down to the ground again. And then we'll allow the knees to fall away from each other as we bring the soles of the feet together. Again, opening up inner thighs, hips, and arms can go wherever feels best. But as you inhale, try to breathe into the belly, right? Expand the belly. And as you exhale, try to relax, empty, relax belly, relax chest, relax jaw, relax feet, relax face. And again, as we breathe in, we try to expand the belly. And as we do this, the breath moves down into the belly, and then we can massage and stretch our psoas muscle, which is really hard to get to because it's like inner core. But as the breath moves down into the space and expands, we can stretch it. And as we exhale, we relax it. And the psoas muscle, again, is really hard to get to and stretch, but it's a lot of problems in our bodies. It's so contracted and locked down, causes a lot of lower back pains, all kinds of stuff. So, and maybe one more breath, breathing into the belly as you inhale. And then exhaling and just relaxing completely. And you can come out whenever you're ready. Again, you can do as you like. You can find stillness. You can take movement if you like. And we bring knees into chest again. Moment. Good. And then we'll come into an inversion of your choice. I love happy baby pose here. It's great for hips. It's great for feet, for heart, as the kind of lymphatic stuff drains out of the legs, and all kinds of stuff comes back to the heart to be processed and back to the core. But you're welcome to do anything. You can do a dead bugs pose if you like. If you have props at home, you can do a supported bridge pose. You can do a shoulder stand or a headstand if you really like. Right, but just maybe 3 or 4 more breaths. And if you're in your happy baby pose, you can even rock a bit side to side, continuing that kind of fascia work. Where one, it can be where you're putting the pressure, but also as you kind of move, you're working the fascia around the hips as well. So all over the body, right? Even in the hamstrings too. So maybe another breath or 2. And then whenever you're ready, our next pose together will be our Shavasana, our final resting pose. So you're free to add in anything else you would like, and anything more for your practice. But when you're ready, you can settle into our final resting pose, which is Shavasana. I sit up so that I maintain some awareness, but your job is to lay down and relax completely. So usually the legs are extended out along the mat, a little wider than hip distance. Toes may roll outwards, a little external rotation of the legs. However, if you have lower back discomfort, you can slip something under your knees so that the knees are bent, lower back supported. You can even bring the knees together if that feels better. But arms may come to the sides. External rotation in the upper arm, so maybe tuck the shoulder blades underneath the body a bit, allowing gravity to open up through the heart and the chest space. But allow yourself to get comfortable. We don't want to be straining in anything or uncomfortable, so we can fix and adjust so that you're comfortable. And then you might close your eyes and just Allow your breath here to find its own rhythm. Right? We did kind of bring awareness to our breath and we slowed it down, right, for the intention of calming the mind and the body. And so we've done that now, and now our work is done and we move into just resting and being here. Right? So allow the breath to fall into its own rhythm, allow the body to relax completely. Right? So you might scan your body here, checking in to see if it is relaxed, because likely it's not. Right? We're holding stress and fear and worry within our bodies. We don't realize it until we check in and we're like, oh, wow. So relax jaw, relax neck, shoulders, face, heart space, belly space, hip space, arms, legs, hands, feet. Good. And then we want to rest our minds as well. And the mind will want to keep working, but our job now is to not. Right? So we turn our attention away from the mind and we send it back to the body and back into feeling and back into relaxing. And we do this over and over and over just for the next few moments, right? Everything can wait just for the next few moments, and this practice is so healthy for our minds and our bodies and our hearts. So right, keep coming back into just feeling and relaxing and just being here. Just one more moment where you are. Just check in again with the body. See if there's any place else that you can relax just a little bit more. And then let this be your new baseline, this new relaxed state. And know that anytime you choose, you consciously choose, you can tap back into this state. You can pull yourself into this relaxed state. And whenever you're ready, you can begin to bring movement back into your body here. Wiggling into hands and fingers and feet and toes and wrists and ankles, arms and legs. Whenever you're ready, you can bend your knees and make your way to lie on either side. In the fetal positions, take a moment there on your side. Noticing again how you feel. Whenever you're ready, you can press back up to seated. Bring your hands to your heart and thank yourself for your practice, this time you've taken for your body and your mind and your heart. And I thank you so much as well. Namaste. Yay.